Hi everybody, Jill from Thurso Grows here. In my kitchen this week, you'll find out why in a wee minute. Just wanted to talk to you this week for our Go Get Gardening slot, and thought we might do a little bit on pests that you get at this time of year and a wee bit on disease as well. So you'll understand why you're in the kitchen just in a wee second, okay? Okay everybody, here we go. We quick look at this plant in front of me here. Clearly not a vegetable. This is actually a house plant. This is a clivia, beautiful plant. It produces a lovely big bloom in early springtime. But I wanted to show you something on it. Because this can be a problem for you if you are growing tomatoes on a window ledge, for example. So basically if you're growing inside, your plants could fall victim to these little aphids, okay? So before I zoom in, I'm just going to offer a little word of caution. If you don't like beasties, now is the time to look away, okay? So I'm going to zoom in, okay? So close your eyes and just listen instead if you're a bit funny about little beasties. So this is quite a big plant, and oh yeah, the spotlight's hot. It can kind of tolerate this, but there is actually quite a large amount of these little aphids on it. So if I just pull that leaf back there, you start to see the size of the problem. Okay, so what we've got there are some eggs. We've got some of the little skins, if you like, the little exoskeletons that come off as they grow and as they develop. And there's also some adults on there as well. Okay, so yeah, not the prettiest little things, and they can actually cause just a little bit of damage on your plants as well. So not so much on a big plant like this, but most definitely on little young plants that are still trying to sort of grow a little bit. I'm going to try something here. I'm going to let's just see if we can zoom in with a little hand magnifier here, and let's see if we can just zoom in. Oh, where's a better bit? There's a better bit. See if we can get the camera on the phone to match up with the image on the magnifier. There you go. So that's all the sort of little dead bits of skin from the wee beasties themselves. Okay, and the other thing you can see that liquid that's there? You'll start to see this on the leaves. Sorry, I'll try and get that in focus again. There you go. There you go. That liquid is what is produced by these aphids when they're feeding, okay? Now when they feed, aphids have very specialised mouth parts. They have a piercing tube, basically, what's known as a stylet. And what it does is it pierces the surface of the leaf to try and extract all of the sugary phloem that the plant produces. So that's what the plant is using to feed itself with. It's basically just food. Okay, so they attack the leaves and they start to feed off that phloem, and as they do that, they then secrete this liquid, and the liquid amongst gardeners is known as honeydew. It's called honeydew, okay, but what it does is it starts to build up on the surface layer of the leaf on the plant, and you just saw some there. There's maybe a wee bit more up there. The light isn't helping me a wee bit just now. But you saw that sticky liquid over the surface of the plant, and that's not good for the plant, because then what starts to happen is that then encourages secondary infections, and you'll get what are known as sooty moulds developing on your plant leaves. Okay, and then they start to affect how the plant grows and also how the leaves photosynthesize. So that then affects how the plant is able to produce its food and its sugars and all the starches and things that it needs. So you end up with a rather sick looking plant. You can see the honeydew better on the surface of these leaves there. Okay, so these are little sap-sucking aphids. They are most definitely not your friends. So if you're inside and you've got your tomato plants on your window ledges, then these are the sort of things that you need to just be a little bit aware of. Okay, so here we go. I thought we'd have a wee quick look at the life cycle here for this little particular aphid that we've just been looking at. What you'll find is these can overwinter the eggs of these little dudes can overwinter. So things like chickweed and sow thistle, then removing them regularly and keeping on top of those particular weeds can help to reduce the incidence of these happening if you've got a greenhouse. Obviously you're not going to have them on your bedroom window, but if you're growing your tomatoes on your window, then this isn't quite so bad. But if you've got a greenhouse, you want to keep things like chickweed and sow thistle down, because they can survive over winter on the leaves. The eggs can survive. So the eggs are usually generally about white in colour. They're rugby ball shaped, and they're usually circular in pattern, if you have a wee look at that example there. And then what you have first of all is an instar1, what's called instar1, and it's a crawler. So that's the wee dude that's mobile, and he's feeding off the phloem on the plant. And then what happens, it's all a little bit gory, it loses his legs and it becomes an immobile feeder. Okay, and that then becomes known as the scale from that point. So we've got instar1, instar2, and then we've got a scale, and it feeds for around 2 weeks. Yeah, so then after that they continue to feed and grow, and this is when you'll most often see that honeydew and the sooty mould forming that I was talking about. Okay, and again the host plants for this stage, the scale stage, the nymph, host plants, if you have a wee look there for yourself, fuchsia, cucumber, chrysanthemum and pelargoniums. Okay, geraniums, fancy word. Okay, so the scale then pupates, and then what we've got is the fly emerging itself, and they can be either male or female. 3 days later then, the females will then lay another load of eggs, okay, and up to 200 they can go in one sitting. Must be painful. Winged females then can disperse, and they'll go back onto those hosts, so they can again overwinter, and you end up with the whole cycle going again and again. Okay, so winged females disperse. Most of the reproduction is non-sexual. How boring is that? Hey ho. So there you go. So there's a wee bit on the life cycle as well. Okay, so what do we do to get rid of these things? Well, you can either squash them. So when you see the leaves with all the eggs underneath them, you can actually just rub the leaves very, very gently between your fingers, and that'll get rid of them. When you see the little scale insects and things moving around on the plant itself, again, you can rub them off, and you can do the same at the adult stage as well. But another little thing that you can use, this is quite a little handy one, in here, in this little bottle, just a normal spray bottle that hasn't had any chemicals in it, it's just been rinsed out, and in here there are some garlic bulbs, and there is a very, very, very small amount of washing up liquid, believe it or not, and the two of these together can actually help to reduce the numbers of the aphids that you're seeing on your plants. So you can use that. You can also just wash them off if it's not a heavy infestation. And other things that you can buy actually online from places like Green Gardener and Nematodes Direct, you can buy parasitic wasps, what are known as little parasitic wasps, and Carcia formosa. And what they do is they impregnate the eggs at the egg stage, yeah, and they parasitise them. They then live and feed off the egg, and then they kind of burst out of them alien style, and they kill the aphid. So you actually completely break the life cycle just by using these little parasitic wasps. And the great thing about the little wasps, they are naturally occurring. You would have them in the environment anyway. So the wee wasps are doing you all a favour, okay? So that's just one little pest I thought we would have a look at, and maybe next week we'll have a look at something else, okay? But have a good weekend, everybody. A little bit cloudy here at my end of the village, but it was quite nice in Thurso earlier. I was up the gardens today. So speak to you all soon. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.